It started with a single murder. A young woman, strangled in the dead of night, her body left near a remote highway. No witnesses, no evidence, no suspect. For years, the police had the wrong people behind bars for the crime. Meanwhile, the real killer roamed free, smiling in the shadows and killing again. His name? Keith Hunter Jesperson, a man who took the lives of at least 8 women and then taunted the world about it. He didn't just kill, he wanted attention. He left confessions scrawled on bathroom walls and wrote letters to the press, each one signed with a simple, chilling symbol, a smiley face. That's how he became known as the Happy Face Killer. But what led him down this dark path? How did he evade capture for so long? And why did he finally turn himself in? Stay with me as we uncover the disturbing mind of Keith Jesperson, a man who killed for power, control, and, most terrifying of all, pleasure. Keith Hunter Jesperson was born on April 6, 1955, in Chilliwack, British Columbia, Canada. He grew up in a home filled with violence. His father, an alcoholic, was known for his heavy hand. He didn't just discipline, he beat. And Jesperson, a large and awkward child, became his favorite target. But Keith wasn't just a victim. He had a dark side of his own. As a child, he started torturing animals. Small creatures, birds, stray cats, dogs. Nothing was safe from his grasp. His own daughter, Melissa, would later recall how he once killed kittens in front of her and her siblings and laughed about it. By the time he was a teenager, his anger turned toward people. One day, he nearly beat a school bully to death. He later admitted that he felt like he was outside of his own body, watching himself attack and enjoying it. Another time, he tried to drown a boy, only stopping when a lifeguard intervened. Jesperson had a mind wired for violence, and it was only a matter of time before he took things further. By 1990, Keith Jesperson was 35 years old. A divorced father of 3, he had found work as a long-haul truck driver, crisscrossing the country. It was the perfect job for a man with murder on his mind. No fixed address, no close friends, endless miles of open road. On January 21st, 1990, Jesperson met a woman named Tanja Bennett at a bar in Portland, Oregon. She was 23 years old, looking for a good time, unaware she was sitting beside a monster. He invited her back to his house. She went willingly, but things took a turn. An argument broke out, and then something snapped inside him. Jesperson punched her, again and again and again. Then with his bare hands, he strangled her. Afterward, he wrapped her body in a tarp and dumped it near a remote highway. To Jesperson, it was the perfect crime, and for a while, it seemed like it was. But something strange happened next. A woman named Laverne Pavlinac saw the news reports and made a false confession. She told police that her boyfriend, John Sosnovsk, had killed Tanja and forced her to help. Incredibly, the police believed her. Jesperson had just committed his first murder, and someone else was going to prison for it. You might think this would have made him stop, that getting away with it would be enough. But for Jesperson, it was just the beginning. Over the next 5 years, Jesperson killed at least 7 more women. He targeted vulnerable women, many of them sex workers or hitchhikers, women he thought no one would miss. He raped, beat, and strangled them. Then, he dumped their bodies along highways and truck stops, moving on before anyone could connect the dots. In August 1992, he killed a woman near Blythe, California. She has never been identified, but Jesperson called her Claudia. A month later, he murdered Cynthia Lynn Rose in Turlock, California, then Lori in Pentland in Oregon, Patricia Skipple in 1993, Suzanne Kjellenberg in 1994. Each time, the pattern was the same. He would gain their trust, kill them with his bare hands, and leave their bodies behind like trash. But there was something different about Jesperson compared to other serial killers. He wanted credit. He was proud of his crimes. So, he started writing anonymous letters to newspapers, bragging about his kills. One day, in a Montana truck stop. He even scribbled a confession on a bathroom wall. Each message ended with the same eerie signature, a smiley face. The media gave him the name the Happy Face Killer, and for years, he continued killing without fear. By 1995, Jesperson had been on a killing spree for 5 years. But then, he made a mistake. His latest victim was different from the others. She wasn't a stranger. She was his girlfriend. Julie Winningham was a 41-year-old woman from Washington. Unlike his previous victims, she had a connection to him, and when her body was found, it didn't take long for investigators to come knocking. Jesperson panicked. He knew his time was up. He tried to end his own life twice, but failed. Then, on March 30th, 1995, he turned himself in. In a shocking confession, he admitted to 8 murders. He even gave police evidence that exonerated Laverne Pavlinac and John Sosnovsk, the innocent couple who had been imprisoned for Tanja Bennett's murder. On January 7th, 1996, they were finally released. Jesperson, meanwhile, was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms. Today, he remains behind bars at the Oregon State Penitentiary. But even in prison, he hasn't stopped seeking attention. In 2023, he claimed to be pen pals with the Gilgo Beach serial killer suspect, Rex Hoyerman. He even sells his artwork. His own daughter, Melissa, refuses to have any contact with him. "I don't want my dad anywhere near my children," she once said. He's a manipulative psychopath. Keith Jesperson's story is one of cruelty, deception, and a hunger for attention. For years, he got away with murder, not just because he was smart, but because he knew how to hide in plain sight. And yet, in the end, his own arrogance led to his downfall. If there's one thing this case teaches us, it's that killers like Jesperson don't just want to kill. They want to be remembered. But let's not remember the monster. Let's remember the victims. Their lives mattered, and they deserve to be known.